Welcome back to Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3. For this segment, I'm really pleased to bring you something that we haven't shown up here yet. It's Devil's Third, a new game that Valhalla is developing exclusively for the Wii U. And to get us started, we've actually got a trailer to show you, so we'll kick it over there before we start chatting. Stay tuned. Should be coming up very shortly.
Are you blind to the suffering?
I know you like the lights on, but I move so much better in the dark.
Cursed for 100 years!
Kumano was right.
Are you blind to the suffering?
Those kids in the hospital. What are they, terrorists?
All right, well, with that trailer to get us started, I'm very pleased to introduce our guest from Valhalla. Just introduce and then we'll get started.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. 皆さんこんにちは。バルハラゲームスタジオのプロデューサーの岡本です。この E3 の場でようやくデビルズサードを発表できたことを非常に嬉しく思ってます。これもずーっと待っててくれたファンの方のおかげだと思ってます。本当にありがとう。で、僕らがデビルズサードで成し遂げたいことは3つあります。1つ目はシューターのブレイクスルーです。今までは格闘ゲーム、アクションゲームを作ってきましたが、このシューターというジャンルに今回はチャレンジします。そのために他のシューターゲームをずっと研究して、でアクションエンジンをですね何度も入れ替えて、メレーアクションとあとシューティングですね、それを融合することができました。で2つ目がですね誰もが体験したことのないマルチプレイを実現したいと思っています。今回のデビルズサードではマルチにおいて非常にチャレンジングな要素をいろいろ入れてます。任天堂といろいろ話をしながら一つ一つ実装している段階です。あとやっぱりそのマルチでやりたいことっていうのは淡々とシューティングで、倒されるっていうことがしたいわけじゃなくて、そこに喜怒哀楽っていうのをきちんと盛り込みたいなというふうに思ってます。そう倒したら嬉しいし、倒されたら悔しいっていう感情をですねマルチにも盛り込みたいなって思ってます。で3つ目はゲームの王様である任天堂とバルハラとでゲームのブレイクスルーを起こしたいと思ってます。はじめ Wii U オンリーオンと聞いた方、ファンの方は驚いたかと思うんですけど、やっぱこのバルハラの個性と任天堂の個性っていうのがもうぶつかった時に初めてブレイクスルーが起きるので、そういったことをやりたいなと思っています。非常に任天堂と仕事することはチャレンジングで楽しいです。そしてそのデビルズサードがいよいよ完成に向かっています。最後にお客さんの声を聞きながら最高の形に仕上げたいと思ってますので期待して待っててください。で先ほど2つ目マルチプレイのブレイクスルーと言いましたが、日本のことわざに百聞は一見にしかずというのがあるんですけれども、実際にマルチのトレーラーの方を見ていただきたいなと思います。
Good job. That's good. Scratch one wall. Good shooting.
All right, there you go.
ありがとうございました。
どうでしたか？
So what did you think?
I like it. I like the idea that they're
いろいろと鶏とか子供とかまで出したり、いろんなユーモアが効いてますね、マルチプレイヤーには。
そうですね。今見ていただいた映像の中で、いろんな驚きとか、期待っていうのがあると思うんですけど、お客さんの中になんだこれはっていう部分もあると思いますので、簡単にマルチの方の説明したいなと思ってます。
That sounds excellent. Thank you.
はい、マルチプレイの話を。
じゃあ、パワポの方、
はい、
映像の方を出していただいて。
Oh, excellent. See if the guys out back can get those sorted up for us.
いろいろとプレイヤーのカスタマイズとか要塞のカスタマイズがありますね。
そうですね。要塞のカスタマイズっていうのが今回のデビルサーの大きなポイントになります。自分の要塞に映像の中に出てきたような日本の城を建てることもできます。
Nice.
いや、あれ出てきましたね。
It looks like our slides are up.
じゃあマルチのゲームの流れをですね、簡単にご説明したいと思います。はい、じゃあお願いします。
So next slide, please.
はい、今回の舞台はですね、ケスラーシンドロームが起こったそういった災害の中での、北米を舞台に繰り広げられます。13のエリアの中で、1つ地域を選びましょう。テキサスを選びました。皆さんが住んでいる地域をここで選んでいただくことになります。はい、で初めはですね一市民からスタートします。はい、でその市民の状態でですねいろんな対戦ルールがあるんですけど、先ほど見ていただいた鶏のルールですとか、あとフルーツをですね投げ入れるようなそういった遊びですとか、そういったものを対戦によって経験してですねプレイヤーのレベルをどんどん上げていきます。はい、で経験を積んでいくとですねレベルが上がって、クランをですね作ったりクランに入ることができます。はい、でクラン員になってからのメニュー、これがですね基本的なメニュー画面になるんですけど、多分こう見てもらった中でハーティーズっていうのがあるんですが、あそこではですね武器の試写ですとか先ほど見ていただいたいろんな洋服を購入することができます。でカスタマイズパターンはいろいろありまして、もう本当何十億通り、ちょっと数えてないんで分かんないんだけど、 まあ、クールなコスチュームからなんか右下にあるような段ボール男ですとか右上の猫戦士みたいなものになることもできます。
If I'm taking down enemies, I want the last thing they see to be this fuzzy little kitten face.
倒される敵が最後に見るのはその猫の顔。面白いですね。
でもね、これね、どんどんたくさん入れていくと、任天堂が喜んでくれるんです。
I'm totally going to start a cat face ninja clan. It's going to be epic.
次お願いします。
Next slide, please. 次から猫顔のクラウンを作りたいと。
で、最初に見ていただいた北米地域というのは13のエリアに分かれてまして、で好きなところから始めることができます。これは実際の実機での映像を取り込んだ画面写真になります。でですね、地域を選んだ後に、それぞれクラインが自分のそのフォートレスをカスタマイズしていくことができるんですね。これは、クラン同士の戦いの時に使うものです。右側の日本の城は手に入れることが非常に難しいです。ただトレーラーにもあったように一瞬で爆破されることもあります。そういうのって悔しいですよね。
So that'll be a little upsetting, I think.
Just a little bit.
そういう喜怒哀楽をこのマルチにはどんどん入れたいなと思って、はい、そういう喜怒哀楽をこのマルチプレイにはたくさん盛り込みたいなと思って、フォートレスのそのカスタマイズっていうのは各地域ごとにいろんな特色がありますんで非常に熱中できると思います。だから自分だけのフォートレスを作って楽しんでください。はい、で実際の戦争は攻撃側と防御側に分かれまして、でそれ以外にもうクランとか入るの面倒くさいよっていう人は一匹狼で傭兵として参加することもできます。で先ほどエモーション、喜怒哀楽をこのゲームに盛り込みたいと言いましたが、戦争の最中に相手陣地にですねビラを撒くことができます。で自分のクランが戦争で負けそうな時にセイグッバイとか左上のチキンのビラが落ちてきたら悔しいでしょ。
毎日その内容が変わってくるということですね。
そうですね。
Yes, that's exactly right.
相手の気分に合わせて一番嫌なビラを撒いてやります。お気に入りの日本の城にビラがこうばらまかれるわけですよね。
That feels like it would be right. It would be fitting.
それは正解ですよね。
正解。マルチの簡単な説明になりますが、以上になります。はい。
Oh, that's it.
There we go.
Okay.
で私たちはずっと格闘ゲームとアクションゲームを作ってきましたが、今回は全く新しいシューターを作り上げます。私のボスである板垣の指揮のもと、もう20年間、20 years 一緒に働いてきた仲間が今作ってます。
今日は参加できなくて残念ですね。
そうですね。実際開発って戦場みたいなもので、事件が起きたので板垣の方は一足先に帰りました。
彼はいないですからちょっと聞いてみたいと思いますが、
はい、
彼と仕事するのはどんな感じでしょうか。
やっぱり板垣は非常にプロフェッショナルなんで、やっぱり僕らもプロの仕事で返さないといけないなっていう緊張感がね、その戦場にはあります。ただ僕は毎晩彼と一緒に飲みに行くんですけど、お酒が入ると非常に優しくてユーモラスになります。そのギャップがね、20年間一緒にやってきた秘訣かなと思います。
And I've had 20 years to see that contrast, so I think I've gotten to know him really well. そんなに長い間一緒に仕事をしていて、今となるシューターは全く違うジャンルにチャレンジするのもいいですね。
そうですね。やっぱ信頼できる仲間と一緒に作り上げられるというのがもうすごい幸せですね。
みんな忙しいですね。
そうですね。あと僕らはもう本当家族みたいなもんで、板垣にも僕の結婚式の仲人とかもやってもらってますんで、本当に会社っていうよりかは家族で物作ってるような感じですね。で今回任天堂さんとも一緒の家族になれたかなと思ってます。
聞いてよかったですね。
はい。それでは今日実際に2つのトレーラー見てもらいましたけど、それがフェイクじゃないことを皆さんに証明したいなと思ってます。
Yes, that's great.
Yeah. で実際に皆さんの前でこうやってプレーできることをすごい興奮しているとともに若干緊張してますんで敵に何度か殺されると思うんですけど、ご容赦ください。
それは初めてじゃないですので、みんな殺されてますので大丈夫です。
そうですね。ただね、板垣から死んだらお前を殺すって言われてるんで
自宅で寝てますね。では祈ってます。
そうですね。そういう緊張感を持ってこのゲームの主人公のアイバンを動かしてみたいと思います。
So I'm going to try and keep that in mind as I start up here.
Oh, no worries. So Scott, I did want to ask you, as we're getting loaded up here, one thing that I know that
で
we've
はそ
talked
れ
about
プ
in the
レイ
office
の
a
方
fair bit.
を皆さんにご覧いただきたいと思っています。
So we're going to jump into solo player here.
で今回 E3 用に2つのステージを用意したんですけれども、今日は吉原という和風なステージを皆さんに見ていただきたいと思います。じゃあスタートします。
Here we go.
Actually, yeah, what I was thinking there was just, I know we've talked a fair bit at the office about the sort of cultural bits and pieces that are hidden here that folks might not necessarily recognize right off the top of the bat.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot that's come from the collaboration of Valhalla Game Studios and Nintendo, and one of those was the influence of Mr. Yamagami at Nintendo, who has been talking to Mr. Itagaki saying that, you know, don't be conservative, just go for the glory, do everything you can with this game. And in particular, try to make it feel very much like an Itagaki game and try and give it a bit of Japanese flavor and feel. And so as such, you can see a lot of that Japanese feel come out both in the setting that we're about to explore here, as well as in the design of the main character, for example. Now here we're getting a little bit of backstory. You see the main character there leaning down and meeting a young girl who in the present day is a sniper and is on the opposing side. But you'll also notice that the main character has some sort of tattoos all over his body. Those are actually Sanskrit characters of Buddhist scripture. And this is a reference to a really old Japanese ghost story.
Which is like one of the most brutal ghost stories I think I've heard.
Yeah,
it's
a
pretty rough.
super cool story. So yeah, as you see, like most of his body is covered except a couple of parts on his head. And it's a reference to Miminashi Hoichi, which is a ghost story where a wandering Buddhist monk named Hoichi comes upon a village where there's a temple that was haunted, and he offers to exorcise the ghosts from this temple. But everyone warns him that the ghosts are violent, so he has them draw this Buddhist scripture all over his body to protect him from the spirits. But they forget to write on his ears, and so through the night, as he's chanting and trying to exorcise these spirits, they tear his ears off because every other part of him is invulnerable. And so from that point, he became known as Earless Hoichi. And that's the reference, that's the inspiration for this character design here.
I think that's so cool, like all those little background details where, I mean, I remember the first time I saw this, I had no idea that that context was there.
Yeah, I think they've done a lot to try and include a lot of that sort of like Japanese taste and feel in the game. You can certainly see it in the architecture here.
Still haven't got enough folks like you in the office so you can actually explain this to me.
Now, that's not the only thing going on, though. They've also received a lot of influence from, I would say, Hollywood, you know, working with former members at THQ like Danny Bilson. They've come up with a massive scale story, something that you would expect to see in the movies. And try to incorporate that into a shooter that also has melee action as well, trying to create a bit of a hybrid. So you've got the sort of Japanese and Hollywood hybrid at the same time that you have this melee action and shooter hybrid happening as well.
And there was something really cool about one of the songs that was playing in the trailer as well, because I remember we talked about that back at work as well.
So this is not the trailer that we showed here today, but I think people might have had a chance to see it earlier in the week. They hired some of the top musicians in Japan to play the shamisen, the koto, the shakuhachi, and the Japanese taiko drums, as well as sing. And the lyrics in the song refer to a famous battle in the Heike Monogatari, the story of the Heike, where the Heike clan was defeated and killed at an area called Dan no Ura. And it's a really sad song, but also haunting, because there's a true ghost story about these fallen soldiers. Yeah, you can even get killed by bats in this game. So if anybody has a chance to watch that trailer, I'd really recommend it. The music sounds wonderful.
Isn't it like so many people died that there's like crabs that look like they have people's faces
on
their shells? It's cool, but it's really creepy.
So this battle took place in what is now modern-day Shimonoseki in Japan. The fallen warriors that end up in the water were said to have been reincarnated in the form of crabs, because the fishermen for so many years threw back any crabs they found that had a human face on them, believing them to be haunted. But that created a kind of artificial selection genetically for this face pattern on these crabs. So here you can see Ivan, the main character, is trying to press into the enemy fortress. surrounded by a lot of enemies. He just threw the sword there. That's going to be a really important part of gameplay, is thinking about the distance to your enemy. Do you want to shoot them from a distance, or do you want to slide up while shooting, slide up to close the distance and use melee to finish them off, or throw a weapon? And this game certainly does give you a lot of options. There's also brutal takedowns.
Yeah.
Lots of different patterns in the animation.
I love that you can just swipe weapons off your enemies too. Just like, whoop, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really cool move. When you steal a sword from an enemy and kill them with their own sword, it's got to be a bit insulting.
Oh, yeah. I can definitely really see the influence here in this area's design as well. It looks really classic.
Yeah, Yoshiwara itself is a reference to a famous pleasure district. You can see the red lanterns there. So as we're advancing through these objectives, you're getting ever further deeper into the enemy fortress. And you can see some of those propaganda posters that we saw on the slide earlier are put up on the walls here as well. So another thing that the game asks you to do is you're going to be faced with a series of interesting decisions moment to moment about the physical nature of each map. You know, there's not only the distance to an enemy, there's also whether you're behind cover or not. You would certainly choose to use a ranged weapon then. But there's verticality as well to the maps. And so you're going to be able to perform takedowns from a great height, dropping onto an enemy with a melee weapon.
I have a feeling we might see that in a second here.
Yeah. So here we thought we were being ambushed, turned around and said, is that a cat? And suddenly, enemies drop in.
Ninjas! Yes!
So
Laser
yeah.
eyed ninjas.
Yeah, ninja combat is definitely one of the elements that you're going to find here.
Man,
Now,
these guys look so cool.
I've been watching Mr. Okamoto play this game all week, and one of the reasons I'm doing the talking right now is if he has to talk during this part, he will certainly be killed.
Oh, he's not the only one.
Yeah.
We found out a lot of us have a real hard time talking and playing.
But there is an interesting element of interacting with the environment as well. You're going to be doing some running and jumping up walls and trying to find different vantage points. Like I said, that verticality and the stage design can be really helpful if you get the drop on an enemy. Oh, nice.
Oh,
that's the sword
brutal.
take and kill.
Oh,
and
no.
right after that, he gets killed.
No worries. Ended on a high note there.
So I'm afraid that's it, everyone. Mr. Itagaki is definitely going to have my head now.
Oh, no. You lasted a good long while there while we were talking, though.
でも結構やってましたね。殺されるま
And
で
we
は。
saw the cool like sword stuff and
剣を奪うのも良かったですね。
そうですね。実際このゲームではまあ銃を撃つのと、あと剣で攻撃するのと、あと投げることもできます。
Yeah, like I said, you can shoot, you can attack people with a sword, or you can throw the sword from a distance as well for a takedown. So it looks like we're going with the hammer this time. And I hope you're all praying for Mr. Okamoto's success, as
yes.
am I.
I do not want him to get in trouble at work.
あいつに投げてみますね。
Okay, so it looks like he's going to try and throw it at that guy this time.
猫にね。
I was supposed to
yeah.
look comment across this guy there.
Is that a cat?
No.
Yeah, that aurora effect you see in the back is the residual effect of the EMP from the satellites that were destroyed, creating the Kessler syndrome. They each had like a fuel cell that created a nuclear effect, thus taking out the world's electrical grid. That's why the world has fallen into such disarray with warring factions. People can't even use modern weaponry except for the enemies who are able to shield themselves from the effect ahead of time.
Yeah, it's kind of scary that that's something that really could happen. There's just so much space debris in our orbit. But at some point, things are going to start crashing together, and if enough things crash together, you could lose all of that jazz.
Yeah, I think that's something to certainly keep in mind, and it's an effect you saw in the movie Gravity as well, and that definitely gave you a sense of like how real it could be.
Creepy. Hopefully it only happens in this game.
Yeah.
And not for us out here.
But these guys have
more
imagined.
ninjas.
These guys have imagined a really detailed world, thinking about exactly what would happen geopolitically if such a collapse were to occur.
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially looking at the multiplayer, and it really is every man for himself. You know, are you going to join a group and try to survive that way? Are you going to try to go solo and just kind of make the best of your situation and hop in and out of other areas? But I could see it really interesting seeing how the power shifts from region to region because this is going to be persistent. And you're going to get to see if one area is just doing really, really well and really strong.
And that's going to be a big part of the multiplayer. You have a lot of different levels at which you're going to need to think about gameplay. There's not just the individual combat where you're hitting an enemy right in front of you, but there's also tactics at the squad level, and
nice.
And also strategy at the clan level as you coordinate with so many people. He had a really nice sword throw kill and then got attacked from behind.
I don't think Itagaki-san can get mad at you for dying with all these cool sword throws. I feel like that kind of makes up for it.
こんなに昨日投げて板さんは怒らないでしょ
むしろ投げろって言われてました。
Well, actually, he was the one who told me to throw the sword so much, so I'm pretty sure I knew what he wanted.
じゃあ、ここの猫は一掃しましたんで、ゲームプレイの方はここまでにしましょう。
Yeah, since I heard you're really excited about those cat costumes, I hope you're really looking forward to this game. But I think that's about all the time we have left for gameplay. そろそろですね。
そうですね。はい。
Oh, no worries at all. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave us with as we wrap up and head to the next segment?
で、最後にヒットコメント何かありますでしょうか？
そうですね。本当に最後になりますけれども、改めて皆さんにここまでずっと待ってくれてたファンの方にはお礼を申し上げたいなと思っています。
Yeah, just one more time, I'd like to say thank you so much to all of the fans who waited for this game for so long.
そして僕たちのチャレンジをしっかりサポートしてくれている任天堂に感謝申し上げたいです。そしてこんな素晴らしい発表の場を設けてくれて嬉しいです。それから板垣をはじめとして東京で昼夜問わず働いてくれているスタッフにも感謝をしたいと思います。ありがとう。近いうちにまた新しい発表ができるでしょう。
I hope to be able to make more announcements soon.
最高にクールなゲームプレイ映像を今度はお届けしたいと思いますので期待して待っててください。Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.